Hi, little seeds. Today, the first idea that I want to talk about is soft leadership. In collective intelligence group, we have multiple people, and the idea of leadership can be interpreted in many different ways, and depends on what kind of leadership is exemplified. The people who are in it can have more motivation or can have better higher performance and better satisfaction overall in terms of quality of connections and quality of experience throughout the process of being together, rather than just having a very black and white outcome. So I would like to share my experience of the soft leadership that and that's about aligning my actions with my values. So the way I do it is by looking at my preconceived ideas of risks. So when I'm in a team leading, or as a person who is participating in a collective group, I often think that, I would like to say this, but it might tarnish my self-image, or it might break the relationship that I have with these people. So I better not say it, or better not making a big deal, although I feel something wrong about doing that within. So in my past, I actually chose a path not to be get involved and just try to be the nice person in the room, but it compiled and really made me feel rotten in my inside, and emotionally, and also as a team wise, I felt like I was not being authentic, and people are taking advantage of me, and I was not really building a long lasting true relationships that is sustainable. So I, from past, half a year, a few months, my focus has been really working through this, breaking the limits that I have within, and establishing a true connection and quality experience that is lasting. And the way I did it was identifying the moments of risks that I perceive, and then yes, I acknowledge it. However, I'm going to go beyond it. This time, I'm going to act differently. Despite I know that it might feel scary, I'm still going to do it and see what happens. So by collecting that new output of my action, I actually was able to grow and then correct my wrong preconceived assumptions about the world. And overall, my team had a better experience. I myself had a better experience. I had a growth, and my team had a growth, and we were able to achieve a very good outcome, best possible outcome, while we are being all authentic. So for me, my examples were I had a communication preference. When someone talked so much, and I wanted to say, like, yeah, I understand you're frustrated. However, this is not going anywhere. You're just venting a lot, and I would really like to get things done. And so before, I was just in the call listening to someone talking for 30 minutes without even asking me any questions, without even giving me any space to be participating in the conversation. I just ended up saying, okay, well, I have to go, and I left. And the second time when it happened, 10 minutes in, I said, you know what, I actually, this is not working for me. And for me, my communication preference is by doing X, Y, Z. So let's focus on the issue itself, and I would prefer that we talk about this in text rather than a call. So it's easier to focus on certain topic rather than spiraling down to other issues that we might not be able to have control of. So this, addressing this, it felt really scary to me, and I really wanted to be a nice person, and usually I wouldn't have said anything and just went along and get frustrated and just repeat it like this. But this time I did address it, and I mentioned that this is my communication preference and nothing about them, but it's about me. So I set the boundary in that way, and it worked out really well after. And ending misaligned collaborations. And sometimes people ask me to be participating in certain things, but based on my values, I have an ideal form of communications, and that respects each other's time, and is fair, there's honest. And if I don't see that is happening, and there's a power game that the other person tries to play, then I would say no to that. And before, again, I didn't do it. I just thought that, well, every opportunity is precious, and I have to do whatever I can to get that opportunity achieved in my hands. But this time, you know what, this doesn't align with the way I feel that is respectful for each other, and it's not going to be a sustainable relationship, and nobody's gonna win in this situation if the start is like this. So I politely ended that misaligned collaborations. And many other things like emotional regulations. And I am quite logical person, and I can keep myself cool in emotional turmoils or other high conflict situations. However, the other person becomes very emotional. Like as soon as you say something, there's always a very emotional burst out of that person, and name calling and all these things like this too much. So before, I would just say, go along with their emotional arc and try to kind of calm them down and things like that. But I said, you know what, this is not the way I work, and this is not professional. So rather than trying to prove I'm right and they're wrong and things like that, I just said, you know what, I'd rather that we don't continue, and I don't want to get involved in your emotional energy. And these are the facts that I can refer to as our evidence, and please look at it. And I'm willing to just walk away from this situation rather than continuing and arguing about what's on the stake. So I did put self together, and I did emotional regulation that I was not able to do in the past. And the professionalism under criticism, and volunteer work alignment, and credit integrity. It's very easy these days that people say a lot more about themselves than what they actually are. There's interviews and there's social media, and people tell a lot of over exaggerated things, and it's fair in a certain way. In North America, I grew up in South Korea, as an Asian country. We're very reserved, and we are taught to be humble all the time. So we kind of downplay our skills and downplay our achievements, and we always say it was because of these other people who helped me, therefore I give them the credit. But in fact, I actually did it. But this is very cultural thing to just say, to stay humble. But in North America, it's not like that. If you do it, you will lose all the opportunities. So I taught myself to become more vocal about my achievements, and kind of match other people's way of expressing themselves. And this sometimes goes overboard, and I know that I did that in my past, but I don't feel good about it. So I try to be as accurate and honest about my contributions as possible, and I see that also to be applied when to others as well. So this type of credit integrity, respectful confrontation, and exploring truth, not trying to be right, and self-honesty, emotional clarity, and understanding ideal self versus myself when it's in a low energy environment, and when I'm in a low energy condition. So many of these things are the tremendous growth that I experienced by trying to be aligned with my values rather than trying to be nice, and try not to tarnish my self-image, try not to break the relationships. But when I actually did all of this, the outcome was quite surprising, and it was quite the opposite of what I initially thought what it might do. So when I did this, actually it was much more conducive for our collaboration. They understood my value, and it also made them realize their values. And this became a fuel of our more cohesive collaboration, and became the motivation for them to continue participating in the project, and despite the hurdles and all these turmoils and pressures that we experienced in the project. So my learning from there, I would say this is a soft type of leadership. I didn't use the way that is authoritative and I kind of order people to do in a certain things, or I didn't use my title as a mean to convey my opinion to be forced into application, but rather I just led my own action with my own words, by trying to be authentic to myself and respectful and remain calm and professional, which I feel that's my value. And doing that, I had a very positive outcome, and people in the end, personally and publicly, they acknowledged that this was the fuel for them to continue in the project, and with the best possible outcome that we were able to achieve from individual people. And they had a great growth moment and experience, and they would love to experience that in their other projects as well. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. So I will leave you with a question about two things. One, what do you feel as a risk when you're in a group, when you're leading a team, when you're part of the team? Do you consider speaking your mind, speaking your truth, being aligned with your values as a risk? And what do you think the outcome might be? And when you notice that, did you try to maybe break the limit and go outside of that assumption and actually test out your hypothesis on others and learn from it? So if you had any experience of going out of your limit and learn something, please share in the comment. I'd love to hear it. And the other one is the way of your leadership style. Do you usually lead by more like a charismatic authority type of leadership, or do you lead by more soft type of leadership, like the way I shared today? So there's no right or wrong, and we are just exploring many effective ways of leading a team and having a great collaboration in a collective intelligence group like we are discussing today. And I'd love to hear from you. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next time. Bye.